Hey everyone, I'm Mike Holmes Jr., and I want to share something with you today that I've never shared with anyone. I want to share it specifically here on YouTube. We bought a house back in 2016, and we bought this house for the property. So the property itself is 2.5 acres. It's got a shop on the property. It has a house on the property. The shop has, my woodworking equipment, my gym. So this is where I come to work out, do any woodworking projects for the show or for myself. And the house itself was built in 1874. Now, since 1874, it's been poorly renovated more times than I can count. It's had additions on additions. There are so many issues with this house, I don't even know where to start. However, when we bought it knowing that this house was a teardown, but we thought we were going to tear it down in 20 years. When we initially bought the house, we inspected it. We made sure that okay, it's livable. There are structural issues, mechanical issues. The one thing we didn't test for was the indoor air quality. And now looking back, I'm kicking myself. Obviously, I'm kicking myself because when my wife was pregnant with Azura, our first daughter, she started to have some breathing issues. And then she was saying to me, I think there's mold in this home. And we ended up getting it tested for mold. And we found out that there was extremely high levels of mold in the house. And it wasn't safe to live, especially with a pregnant woman and a kid on the way. Obviously, not healthy for me either, but we moved out. We moved out before our first child was born, and we've been out of the house for almost a year and a half now. It's been a lot. That's been a pretty crazy journey on its own. Um, Probably for another video and another day. Throughout that time, the year and a half that we've been out, we've been planning. We've been going through options. Do we want to renovate this house? Do we want to tear it down? Um, we opened it up and explored a little bit to look at our options, and we decided that we're going to tear it down. Um, Essentially, the amount of money it would take to fix the existing issues there, major structural issues, we're not renovating this. I know we planned on tearing this down in 20 years, and maybe we hadn't saved all the money to tear it down and rebuild it right now, but we're going to tear it down and we're going to make it work. You have a plan. In life, you come up with a plan and you think, this is how I'm going to live my life. I'll buy a house and I'll live in that house, start to raise a family, and then one day, once we save enough money, we'll move somewhere else, tear it down, and rebuild it. And I mean, that was our plan, but life throws lots of curveballs, and we just have to adjust. I've got a great team by my side. I've got a great demolition team. They're also going to excavate for the foundation, and they're going to install the new septic because we're living in a rural area up north, far away from the city. And we've got a great team for the house as well. I'm working with Timberblock. They're a company out of Quebec. And I chose them for a few reasons. One, I love their homes. I've toured a bunch of their homes. I've gone to Quebec. I've gone to the show homes in Innisfil off the side of the 400. I love the character that they have. The exterior perimeter is pine on either side of the wall. And then in between that is closed cell spray foam. So we have an R30 wall assembly that will be closed cell spray foam all the way around the house. And these walls are prefabricated in a factory. So they're climate controlled. And essentially what happens is they drive those walls here, they crane them into place once the foundation is done, and my exterior shell is up in less than a day. Now, there's a bunch of other framing to do. On top of that, point loads, beams, the second floor framing, the trusses, windows and doors that have to go in. So the house won't be closed in right away, but it's going to be closed in a lot faster than had I stick framed this house. So there are so many reasons we chose timber block, but that's a couple of them. Aesthetically, we love the look. We want to maintain the charm of the neighborhood around here, but also for the building efficiency, for the sustainability of this house. We're also thinking about one day we're going to pass this house down to our kids because let's be real here. Houses are extremely expensive. Um, when we bought this house, we bought it for $330,000. And one of the reasons we bought this house was for the property. We knew the house was a teardown. We didn't think we'd tear it down in 8 years. We thought we'd tear it down in 20, but we bought it because we saw the potential. I loved that there was a shop on the property. I loved that there was 2.5 acres. We decided that we wanted to invest in the property itself and not the house. The real estate here in Ontario, Canada is absolutely insane. You can buy an $800,000 home, you can buy $1 million home and still have to sink hundreds of thousands of dollars into it. So we decided, let's buy a house for the property and fix it up in 20 years. 8 years later, change of plans. Life throws you curveballs. We have to pivot. You have to roll with the punches. We weren't planning for this, but we're rolling with the punches all right. We have another kid on the way. I'm not sure if it's a boy or girl yet, but I'm really excited to find out. Our first child, we decided let's be surprised. We didn't find out until she was born. This child, we decided let's find out ahead of time. Let's just try both ways, see which way we like better. But we got to build this house. My family needs a home. We've been living out of this house for a year and a half, and it hasn't been easy. So the reason I want to share all this with you is because anyone who's going through the same stuff that we've gone through or we're going through, I want this to be a resource for you. I've learned a ton already, and we haven't even torn the house down yet. The permit process, the process you need to go through in order to tear down a house, the planning process, the engineering, the drawings. I want to share those entire process with all of you because if at any point in your lives you decide, I want to do this too, I want you to have a place to go. That way you don't have to go through headache after headache. There are a ton of hurdles you have to jump in order to go through this process. And I've learned a ton already, even as a contractor. I do renovations specifically. Um, and I've learned a ton already, and we haven't even torn the house down. So I want to share this with everyone because it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be educational. I know there are a lot of people that are going through similar stories as this. We're not the only ones that are going through something like this. And we're doing all this with another kid on the way. I have a full-time job. My wife owns her own business. She's selling a building. We don't live at home, but that's life. Um, it's not easy, but we got to do it. We've got to build this house. My family needs a home. So I'm going to document every part of this process. I'm going to tell you all about the permitting, the engineering, the home building, the site planning, future planning, then the building process itself. I want to talk about all the products that we're going to use, the building techniques we're going to use, because I want to build a forever home. I want to build a home that's going to last for my kids. Because if the housing market's this expensive now, I can't imagine what it's going to be like in 15, 20 years. So I want to make it easier for them. So talk about legacy planning. There's so many reasons I want to share this online, but I'm really excited to start this project, and I'm really excited to share this secret with all of you.